Hey, everybody, welcome on back. It's the You Gotta Try This podcast. It's with myself, Large, and with a mysterious gentleman named Ian, who's behind the ones and twos. We'll call him the voice of God today. Ian, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, yeah, I feel good. I look good. I think everything's going well. I'm on my way down to Miami next week. So I'm going to be trying a bunch of food places. I'm going with my kids, my daughter's birthday. So we're going to celebrate a couple like more, not fancier places by any stretch of imagination, but more Instagrammable places. I think I'm taking them to Carbone. I'm going to take them to Joe's Stone Claws. I love Joe's Stone Claws. Don't at me with other places that are better. I know they probably are. And then we're going to some other place, Barton M, maybe, where they serve cotton candy for dessert, but it's on the head of a mannequin, that type of shit. So we're going to be down in Miami. I need to find a couple of places that are off the beaten path that I can go down and try and maybe do as reviews for the You Gotta Try This on social media. So if anyone has any Miami places where it's like, holy shit, this is a large place that he could go to for lunch, type place that would suit me, please send it in to me and I will get to it right away. Who did we have last week on the show? So, Big John Fisher. Big John Fisher came in from London. Him and his wife, Charlotte, were here. I can't thank them enough. Again, shout out to those guys. A couple of the dudes here at Barstool were straight up fanboying when they saw him. He's huge. He's huge in the UK, but he's got big numbers all the way around. So to carve out some time, then he just hit me this morning with a voice memo with him and his wife arguing about who took my address because they want to send me some merch because his son, Johnny Fisher, the Romford Bull, has like a bunch of merch and they wanted me to have some of it, particularly since I talk to a lot of fighters and whatnot. So thank you to John for coming in and doing that. This week, we're going in a little bit of a different direction. We got Lisa Ann in here. So for people who don't know who Lisa Ann is, I'll just give you a couple of seconds for your wife to leave the room. Yeah, Lisa Ann is here. That's kind of cool. So Lisa's a friend of mine from way back. I had the pleasure of meeting her probably about 6 or 7 years ago on Barstool Breakfast, and she's become a family friend. My wife and her are very close. She's been to my house, and she's got so much stuff going on just in general. And if you're wondering why is Lisa Ann on a food podcast, this podcast is about anything that you could put in your mouth. I told you that from the beginning, and things that we'll be talking about with Lisa Ann certainly fit that bill. On top of the fact that she has her own red wine label. So she does. On top of the fact that she's part owner of a food truck. We did National Burrito Day. We did a burrito review at the bar in here with her, and she's just wonderful. She's a wonderful person. She just recently had historic moment for millions of guys around the world. She just recently had her implants taken out for the final time. So she's just a factory model now. What she came in with is what she has now. And she's an open book. I think she's writing her third book right now. Fascinating woman. Can't wait to have her on. Lisa Ann coming up. Next week, we have a celebrity. Next week, we're nothing but food, wall to wall with Chef Greeny. We've pre-taped that since I'm going to be away. And you heard me speaking with Greeny. That guy can fucking talk, and he can talk food better than anybody that I know. And so he's an LA guy who I, again, just happen to become friends with over the past couple of years. When I'm in LA, I eat with him. When he's in New York, he eats with me. He was in town with his wife and kids, and he carved out about 2 hours just to come in and shoot the shit with me. So we have a couple of good shows coming up. We're going to keep the momentum going. Kevin Clancy had come up to me and he begged me to be on the show. So I'm going to let Clancy come on in a couple of weeks because he just launched this new, what is it? Fucking espresso martini thing.
Midnight Bean.
Midnight Bean. Kevin has been an espresso martini champion for a long time, insisting on 3 beans. And so now he has his own brand of espresso martinis, instant espresso martinis. I think if you pour them, they sort of had a head that develops like a pint of Guinness. It looks delicious. So we're going to have Kevin on to talk about all that stuff, plus his absolute white trash diet. I can't believe how bad Kevin eats. I'm wondering that since the last time I spoke to him about food, whether or not his palate has gotten better, like Gaz. We had Gaz on a couple of weeks ago. Gaz plus multiple millions of dollars equals a more refined palate on gas. Except he doesn't take his hat off in Fort Charles, which I got a mouthful of shit for that on all social media. Me and Ian try to figure out what people are going to nitpick every time we put out any kind of food review. And I always give people something. I throw a toothpick, I do something. But this one, it was all gas all the time. So yeah, but thank you. We've been very lucky with the people that we've had in, and we've been very lucky with the feedback that we're getting. So I will remind you right now at the top of the show, people subscribing to the YouTube channel, people following the brand account on all social media, that helps us out a lot. So leaving a 5-star review is great. If you guys want any questions answered, leave them in the review. As opposed to like, I love the show, but I also want to know, what's your favorite brand of peanut butter or something like that. And I will get to it. Do you have one for this week?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We have one from Luke Olson on Spotify. He says, what was or is your favorite thing about the Iowa State Fair? Also, what's the worst part?
Okay. Yeah. So that's a good question. We should go over these questions beforehand, but this one I got. So Iowa State Fair, I've gone to, I think I went 3 years in a row with a sales trader that I worked with named Kathy, who covered PGI out there. So we'd go out to the Iowa State Fair, and it was a fucking ball. But this was 10 years ago, so I'd never seen this. There was a lot of things at the fair that I'd never seen before, like deep fried Coca-Cola. Don't know how they do it. They bend the laws of physics to deep fry butter out there. There was a life-size butter sculpture of a cow, because they have a butter sculpture, contest at the Iowa State Fair. I highly recommend going to these outside of the big city type fairs. This guy is asking the question because we had someone who invited us to one in Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. So I'm assuming this is in relation to that. I will tell you, when I went to the Iowa State Fair, and it seems like they're all over the place now, but since this was, again, 10, 15 years ago, it was the first time I had one of those mashed potato sundaes. Blew my fucking mind. The same like sundae glass that you would get at Carvel or Baskin Robbins or whatever. Instead of a couple of scoops of ice cream, a couple of scoops of mashed potato. Instead of hot fudge, brown gravy. Instead of sprinkles, chopped bacon. And instead of a cherry, just the cherry tomato right on top. And then you walk around the fair with a spoon and this hot sundae of mashed potatoes, and you feel awful afterwards, but it's a wonderful experience to have. And also some of the bands, like we saw Kansas there. I don't even know if the guys are still alive. So there's so many great little aspects of these fairs that I love, but he was asking what the worst part of it is. And the worst part of the Iowa State Fair was in the middle of the Kansas show, like, right after Dust in the Wind, that mashed potato sundae came home to roost, and I almost had a bad accident, and all I could find within immediate running distance was a porta potty. And a porta potty at the Iowa State Fair towards the end of the night, on the final night during a Kansas concert, with the inescapable feeling that you're about to shit your pants, is probably one of the worst places I've ever been in my life. I mean, I'm very lucky that I respect our veterans. I respect everyone on the front lines. I've never been on the front lines. The closest I have been was that. And I'd also went to Zoom Stomp Dish in Queens right before a Billy Joel concert. And I wound up missing the first 8 songs of Billy Joel because I felt like I was sitting on a sleeve of hot golf balls. But anyway, I would tell you right now, go to the fair, just find a clean bathroom somewhere off to the side. And that's it. Oh, another highlight is while I was there, I went to like one of those funky pizza parlors. It probably is still open. And it used to do a crab rangoon pizza, which I thought was pretty good. A little bit different and certainly very good. What else we got? Let's go headlines. Duke's Mayo. People die on certain hills culinarily, and some people die on the Mayo Hill. Are you a Hellman's guy? No. Are you a Duke's guy? No. Are you a Kewpie guy? No. All those things, people really feel near and dear to their heart. And the only thing that people can agree on when they talk about mayonnaise is that Miracle Whip is absolutely fucking trash. But let's talk about Duke's. It's got twang. It looks like it's getting bought. So Duke's mayonnaise, born in Greenville years ago during World War I, and it looks like Advent International is a global equity investor with 16 offices across 5 continents, overseeing more than 420 investments in 43 countries based in New York. They just bought Duke's Mayo. So for people who are huge Duke's Mayo fans, sometimes when this big money comes in, one of the first things they do is they streamline and they try and trim the fat and do all that so that it's got twang. Duke's Mayo, it might change. And I would think I'm a Hellmann's guy myself, but it might change. And that's going to be a goddamn travesty for people who like that traditional Duke's Mayo taste. We've seen the same thing that might happen with Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's just got picked up for an unbelievable amount of money, and now people are wondering whether or not the quality of the food, service, or all that stuff is going to change because Jersey Mike's is going corporate, just like Duke's Mayo. I will tell you right now, I'm sitting here, we're about to tape, and it's a Wednesday. I just taped Rubbin' Is Racing, and Ebony had hit me and said, Large, you got a big package. I said, stop looking at it. I'm married. But we had a big package in the lobby, and it says, to Large and Ian Barstool Sports from Squatty Potty. That's right. So Ian and I had attended a customer event the other day put on by Barstool, where they have a bunch of their customers all watching March Madness while there's content guys there, and you can kind of meet and greet and see who you're paying money to advertise with. So Ian and I were going around pressing the flesh, and we met 2 wonderful young ladies. One of them worked for Squatty Potty. The other one was a guest of hers. And I just got to talking to her about the product itself. I don't know if they're doing work with the company elsewhere, but she said that she'd be interested in doing some work with us. And even though I own one, she sent me a couple more. So this is a live unboxing. Large and Ian, it was such a pleasure meeting you both. As promised, we're hooking you up with the ultimate bathroom upgrade. Everything you never knew you needed. Bidet, little luxury where it counts. Bamboo flip, stylish, functional, life-changing. Travel stool, toilet paper foam, your new favorite finishing touch. Invisibrush, discreet, effective, doesn't scream, I've seen things. Hope this setup brings a whole new level of comfort to your routine. Excited to see what you think, and even more excited to stay in touch. All the best, Kaylee and the Squatty Potty team. That's very fucking sweet. It's very, very sweet. Have you ever used Squatty Potty?
No, never. And I can't tell you how excited I am to try this out.
I use it. And that's what I told her. I said, the only problem with your product is that it's made so well that I've had the same Squatty Potty, and I'm a big guy. People in my family, my brothers are big men. They're over the house using this thing. It's near indestructible. And for people who don't know what it is, it's just a footstool that goes in front of your toilet, kind of wraps around the toilet a little bit to bring your knees up to I wish I had it at the Iowa State Fair to just bring ease to your bowel movements. You're essentially shitting like a Native American, just kind of crouching in the weeds, which I hear like Native Americans, the way they delivered babies and took dumps was supposed to be the healthiest thing in the world. So I'm not just throwing that out as in a flip thing. So here we go. Ian, this is your new Invisibrush. No free ads, but I'm hoping that these guys come back because I love the product. So this is just, I don't know, it's a hidden toilet brush. This clips behind. How fucking great is that? This clips behind your toilet. So when people come to use your bathroom, they don't look in. You ever go there and like you see some animal who doesn't clean their toilet brush? So you see fucking specks on. So this is one of their Invisibrushes. It's going to hang either in back of the commode or on the side of it, so just out of sight. And then they gave us the folding Porta Squatty, which is right there. They gave us the Squatty Potty Refresh It Dual Stream Bidet. So yeah, I mean, and then I think, yeah, and then we got the bamboo one too. So Ian, I don't know, are you a bidet guy?
I've never used a bidet either.
Really? All right. So the bamboo stool is the one that I have that's near indestructible. So you're taking this. The folding one I'll take because I'll bring it down to the beach house. the toilet brush or the bidet is up for grabs between the two of us. So you decide what you want more. And outside, and then here we go. This is the toilet paper foam. This is scary. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what it is. Instant wet wipe, toilet paper, foaming wet wipe alternative. So it's, yeah. So what do? I wipe my ass with this foam?
I think you maybe put the foam on the toilet paper to make it all moist.
Boy, was I off. Thank God we had this conversation. So anyway,
you were just going to go ahead and
start squeaking this thing into my asshole. Alrighty. So, it smells nice. It smells like it's not just like a disinfectant-y smell, although it does have a certain cleanliness to it and astringent to the nose a little, which you want from your toilet paper foam. But anyway, we say no free ads. A little bit of a free ad there, but I just want the people from Squatty Potty to know that we're game. If you guys want to do anything through us, we've been lucky to be doing these ads lately, which we absolutely love. But Squatty Potty, there's always room in the inn, and we appreciate you sending these along. All right, what else do we want to talk about today?
There was this tweet, not going viral, but people are talking about it on Twitter, food related, New York City related. So I thought we'd take a stab at it.
Yeah.
It reads, my parents' 40th anniversary is this week. I want to take them somewhere really special in New York City. I'm not a big foodie and I don't care what it costs. I owe them everything. If you had one night to thank your parents, where would you take them?
Wow, that's another fucking great question. So here's the deal. People ask me for restaurant recommendations all the time. The reason that we started doing You Gotta Try This was to me just to put that out there into the ether, places that I go to that I like. If I go to a place that I don't like, I don't put it out. And if you're wondering how often that happens, it happens quite a bit. But I don't like to shit on places and put them down. So that being said, people then hit me and say, hey, where should I go here? Where should I go there? And there doesn't seem to be any kind of geographical bounds with them asking my advice because they see that I often, I do a little bit of things here in London, and then I'm down here and I'm all over there. I don't necessarily know every town in America. I don't mind being asked by any stretch of imagination, but if I don't get back to you right away or something, it's because I don't know. But this guy's asking me something extremely specific about New York, and that's a tough question because if it's a 40th anniversary and you're not a foodie, what about them? Like, that's what I would need to know because right away I start going to like places like Le Bernardin. Like you go to a 3 Michelin star restaurant and you bring your parents to a meal that they've never had before, probably, and that they probably wouldn't have again, make them get all dressy and eat stuff that they wouldn't normally eat with seafood foam and whatnot. I think there are a number of those, particularly the classics, like Eric Ripert does not miss. So I would need a little bit more information because if your mom and dad are married for 40 years, but your dad rarely eats anything that's not on a paper plate, then he probably wouldn't have a good time at Le Bernardin. So, yeah, I can do a deeper dive. I'll see what the dude is. Maybe I'll answer him just to get a little bit more information. For me, my parents are off the boat from Ireland. Both my parents are off the boat from Ireland. They're not high cuisine type people. My mom, the only reason my mom is a good cook is because growing up in Brooklyn, all of our neighbors were Italian. So they really did a good job. My mom did a really good job kind of assimilating to that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been good for me. And I would probably go to a real standby like Keen's right here for my parents because I know my dad would destroy a mutton chop. I think they would get a kick out of that atmosphere and that type of history. So it's a different answer for every person. Where do you send your parents for their 40th anniversary? And I would like to find the perfect place since this guy's said in it, like they're very important to me, right?
Well,
and money's no object. That's very nice for a son to say.
What if I flip it on you? I say Mick graduates from Alabama. He gets a job in New York City somewhere. He wants to say thank you and take you and Ann out to dinner. What's a place that you would be happy that he chose?
I would ask for, so I know that he would probably have an idea of what he'd want to spend on us in his mind. I'd rather that in cash because this kid owes me so much fucking money. 55 grand. every year for this college. It's I don't know. Like we have some places that are special to us, Annie. So it might be an easier question to answer for him. I will tell you, my daughter, we're taping it on April 9th. My daughter Bridget turns 15 today. And we're coming back into the city tonight to go to Nobu 57. Don't jump on me for that. I mean, Nobu has been a staple of New York City for such a long time. I used to go to the old Nobu down in Tribeca because when I worked at Citigroup, I was on 390 Greenwich Street. And then they opened up Nobu next door, which was an easier table to get. Nobu 57 was around the corner when I worked for SunTrust up on Fifth Avenue. And so I've been going to Nobu, and it just doesn't miss for me. Whatever their big dishes are, the black miso cod kills.
So good.
Right? Oh my God, we have something now. Are we actually going to talk food for the first fucking time today?
My brother had his birthday dinners at Nobu for like 3-4 years in a row. So I know Nobu.
And I think that it's a great place to go when you want a night out. Like I'm taking my 15-year-old daughter there. And it's Instagrammable, which is important. It's the same reason I'm taking her to Carbone in Miami. It's going to look cool with her friends. Same, you know what I mean? So I think it really does check a box for me. If my son wanted to send my wife and I to a special meal, man, I'd have to do months of research so I could, if he's not going to give me the cash, to really fuck him out of some money, because the $20 bills I keep stealing out of the Valentine's Day cards my mom sent her, it's not working. So, but that's an excellent question. And I do have to put a little bit more thought into it. But please, keep your questions coming in. I will get to them as much as I can because I want to. I want to talk about them here, and 5-star review, that type of stuff would be perfect. Something else I had seen online, which I'm going to be trying. I don't know which member of Barstool is going to be the perfect guy to try this with, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Pat McAuliffe, who does the Out and About podcast with Joey. Pat is gay. So Pat was my producer when I was at Barstool Breakfast. And when we would do Gentleman Fridays where we'd get drunk in the office, his drink of choice sometimes would be something called a Franklin Cooler, which was red wine and orange soda, I believe. And he used to drink like the cheapest red wine you can get, jug wine or box wine and orange soda. And he used to love it. And now this minor craze that's coming around is called Gator wine. Did you hear about it? It's got to be the blue Gatorade. It's got to be the blue Gatorade, and it's got to be a middle-of-the-road red, and it's equal parts blue Gatorade cold and red wine cold. And you drink it like that. And people say, even if you know the difference between good and bad wine, which I kind of do, you might enjoy it. And I think I might, because I've been to a couple of Italian places that do that wine drink with the Coca-Cola in it, and I like it. I'm a sangria guy. I call it mangria. And believe me, I can go the whole gamut. I could take you deep into a wine list, and I could drink it out of a paper bag on a corner. So I want to try this Gator wine. I got to find the right person to do it with. I think it's going to be Pat, and that's it. I'd seen another headline that I'm going to give to you guys because it's a life changer. A study just proved it's better to eat 2 burgers than 1 burger with French fries. That's the new study. And it says, surprisingly, choosing 2 burgers over a burger with fries is a healthier option, according to nutritionist Emily Field.
Why is that surprising?
Well, I don't know. So a second burger is healthier than an order of fries?
Duh.
Because it has protein.
Yes.
Right. See, you're into yourself. Like you kind of get into that. This was shocking to me because I am going to go to my favorite French fry in New York, and I'm going to do a review of it. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, this is the best French fry in New York. And people are going to say, fuck you and all that stuff. I won't tell you where it is now. I'll probably do it next week. I love the fries there. But otherwise, I'm not sold on most fries that I get in most restaurants, particularly burger places. I don't find them to be extraordinary. But just out of muscle memory or whatever, I always order them, and I think I'm going to stop. I will opt for a second burger. I don't know if I'd opt for a second pub burger. I'm not doing a Minetta Black Label, 2 of those. But I would opt for a second burger than to waste the calories and my time on a order of fries.
A lot of the time, you're still hungry. So it's not that you can't get fries, but have the 2 burgers first so that you're only eating a couple fries.
Right. Or split them with the wife.
Because if you only have 1 burger and fries, you can eat all the fries. That's a given.
Right. A couple other food things. This week's food review for us was Manny's in Chicago. That's the one that Ian had put out earlier this week. So Manny's in Chicago is one of the only cafeteria-style Jewish delis in Chi-Town. So you grab a tray, you go down, they have all these different delicacies. You can order this, that, and that, or just go to the carving station where somebody is using this automatic slicing machine. They're not like pushing it through, and they're cutting razor thin slices of corned beef, which some people like, some people rather that thick cat's cut. I can take either as long as it's quality meat. And we'd gone there and I'd done a very good corned beef sandwich. I had a good experience at Manny's. A couple of people in the Chicago office had recommended it to me. I was skeptical, but I went and it was wonderful. So check that out on our socials. And then another random picture I put out the other day was I was just in Kinchley's up in Ramsey, New Jersey. They do bar pies. So in New Jersey, we call those thin cracker crust pies bar pies. Maybe they call that all up and down the East Coast. Maybe it's just the Northeast. I know sometimes they're called tavern style. Although when I said I was having a tavern style pizza in Chicago, a bunch of Chicago people came at me and said, we don't call it tavern style. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm talking about these cracker crust things. While I was at Kinchley's to wash everything down, and by the way, I highly recommend Kinchley's. Great place, family owned. I think they do like an all-you-can-eat spaghetti and meatballs or ravioli nights on Wednesday. It's one of those old school places, cash only. But I did a butterscotch sundae. I put it up there, and I think it reminded everybody just how fucking good butterscotch is. Ian doesn't eat butterscotch, right? And the last time you saw one, it was in the bottom of your grandmother's purse, right? It was like the Little Werther's original or some shit like that.
Correct.
Butterscotch is an elite topping. That's my point that I'm making here. Butterscotch is an elite topping. If you like caramel, there's a good chance you like butterscotch. The only difference between caramel and butterscotch, I believe, is the type of sugar they use. Caramel, they use white sugar. Butterscotch, they use brown sugar. Then there's other like smaller differences to that. So it's not butter and scotch. It's butter and brown sugar and added cream to it at the end to get the right consistency. And butterscotch over vanilla ice cream as the middle component of even a banana split with whatever else you want to put in is elite. Don't argue with me. Just go have some butterscotch and reminisce and say how right I was when I told you that you should go eat it. What else? So we have Lisa coming up in a second. We did do the burrito review with her, and we usually do like a little history thing. I'll do like a little history thing too. If you're wondering where the word burrito comes from, here's where it came from. A lot of people, so burrito means little burro, little donkey. So that's where it came from. But what does that have to do with the thing that you're putting into your mouth? A lot of people say that when they were, first invented or somebody first came up with it, they said how much it looked like the blanket rolls that you would sometimes see on a donkey, a burro, or a horse. So they named it after those blanket rolls. Some people say the original guy who came around selling burritos had done it off the back of a small donkey. So it's called a burrito, a little donkey. But for the rest of your life, whenever you see the word burrito or you have one in your hand, just know that technically you're eating a little donkey. With that, you want to just get to the interview? I think we're cool. Yeah.
Do it.
So again, Lisa Ann. Lisa Ann was at the pinnacle of adult films for decades. She's done over 3,000 scenes. She's done over 40 movies, but she's an excellent businesswoman. Always has been. So as she's transitioning away from that life, and she's totally out of it now, still has her OnlyFans, still has all this other stuff, but she's not actively creating any new adult content. It's fascinating to me to see somebody transition out of that, along with the fact that she's actually been hurt by the recent tariffs for her red wine label. She's a fascinating young lady. She's a good friend of mine. It's Lisa Ann, and here she comes. All right, so as promised, we have my good friend Lisa in the studio with us. For people who don't know Lisa, you're lying. And secondly, for people who don't know my relationship with Lisa, we've been friends now for probably like 5 or 6 years. She's come on the radio show every now and again. She's done a couple of podcasts with me. We've actually been out socially a bunch. Yeah. Annie and Lisa, my wife, and Lisa are friends. Saying the word Lisa a lot, it's starting to lose its meaning. And she's fascinating to me. And since the name of this podcast is You Got to Try This, a lot of the stuff that she's involved with is a lot of the stuff that I think everybody should be trying. So if it's the wine label, if it's something that has to do with food, or if it has something to do with the adult industry, you're the first person that I go to. I think I did the twisted history of Larry Flint once.
Yep.
And I think maybe Kate came on and co-hosted it with me. And I had you on as almost like a supplemental guest for some reason. And you had this huge relationship with him.
Yes.
And then we just randomly started talking about like the fleshlight industry. And you were like, oh my God, when I had mine done, I went down there. It's just, I think you answer questions that every guy has. And it's one of those things that makes you kind of magical when you come on random shows and you just blow people out of the fucking water. So either way, Lise, thanks for coming on. How are you doing right now?
I'm doing great. I've really just peeled the layer on, I think, one of my final and greatest transformations. I just took 3 complete weeks in solitude, recovering from a surgery. I had my implants removed.
Yes.
Everyone, these are my natural breasts. This is my first time living my own body since I was 18 years
Rest
old.
in peace, implants, but go ahead.
He wanted me to keep them and try and sell them. I just didn't want to deal with it.
I thought it would
didn't want to go through TSA with them. I just
fucking huge.
But this was in the making for quite some time. But as a smart businesswoman, I was like, let's hit it hard. 23, 24. So 2023, 2024, traveling, doing events, doing everything that really needed the cleavage. Like this is important. This is part of my work attire. Mm-hmm. And then I decided last year, okay, I'm sure this is my last year doing events. And what I know about me is I have to set some sort of parameters because the money becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And that habit can be defeating because there's new ways to make money. There's new things to be doing. And when you keep in the habit, you don't try new things. And so I knew that having the surgery would be the final because now I just don't want people touching me anymore.
Right.
I don't want to go to trade shows and be fending guys' hands off of me. I don't want to be at events and know that I'm constantly like this. And I just feel more in control of my space, being my size, being smaller, and also more guarded with the fact that this is finally the body that only I've seen.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a really bizarre thought, but it's very new to think about.
And that's the whole thing. Like I have no comp to that. Like I try to have some sort of way to relate to some of the things that you go through on a daily basis. And again, we speak quite a bit and I'm always fascinated with it, including this, not being in your original body. For how long? How long have you had
Since
implants?
I was 18. It was the first thing I did. I mean,
And
I had already put the money.
sets.
Multiple sets. First of all, let's go back to the Sopranos era and look at all the bad boob jobs that were on Bada Bing.
Yes.
That was when I was getting my first boob jobs.
Oh, okay.
So you have to go through a couple first boob jobs.
Right.
First boob job, $2,500.
Stop right there. So what I was going to do is I was going to start this podcast and talking about wine and talking about food. We just had a burrito. Today's National Burrito Day. So we just reviewed a burrito from Taste of Puebla, NYC, which is a great food truck that's up on 6th Avenue by 49th Street. So that's going to drop on National Burrito Day, which is before this is going to drop. All intentions to do it. As soon as she had mentioned breast implants, I don't give a fuck about wine or food anymore. Keep going.
We'll get to the wine. We'll get to the food,
Why
we
not?
promise.
Yeah.
But so my entire adult life, and I got it. And there were times, if you go back through my career and you Google me and you look right now, there's these kids putting these great reels together of me at different ages. And they come up on my feed and I'm like, wow, it'll be like, here she was at 25, here she was at 30. And I'm like, and you could just see the progression because I was very, very practical with my implants. I removed them every 10 years and redid them.
Okay.
Sometimes before that, if my doctor saw a lump or something that couldn't be seen properly with a screening,
right.
Even, you go through the extremes of MRIs to get proper mammograms when you have implants.
Yep.
So after going through all that, if there was something that was high risk, it was like, okay, we're going to start over, get another set. And I can remember right before Palin, around 2005, 2006, I went for a monster set because I was like, you know what? This is probably my last good run. Let's go
So
big.
you put the big boys in.
And the big boys. And I remember my doctor not wanting to use the photos or me telling people he did them because it's just not his look.
Right.
He doesn't do freakish things, but I could never break away from him. He's been my doctor since I moved out west in the early 90s,
Right.
and I will never see anybody else. Of course, I very much fear his retirement. Another reason why I wanted to get these
You
done
got him
now.
out before he got out.
But I'm not afraid of saying like in 10 years I'll be back for a facelift or something. Come on, let's be real. I'm
I'll
already
be there with
saving.
you. Yeah.
Speaking of saving, I have a tip for everyone out there. If you do plan on getting implants, it is important to know that you should be removing them every 10 or 15 years. So if you put $100 aside every month for those 10 or 15 years, you have the $12,000 to $15,000 to put towards your next set. It is important to be prepared for that because women will leave them in their body for 20, 25 years because they can't afford to get them taken out.
Right. Yeah.
Which is
All right.
tragic.
Well, there's the first breast implant tip we've ever done on You Got to Try This.
Boom.
Knowledge goes in your head, tool goes in your box, implants goes in your chest.
Yeah.
So you went like the way that you describe them was like almost like they were cartoonishly big, particularly if you say that your doctor wouldn't go any bigger. But you and I have both seen some of these people who do have more of a Jessica Rabbit, cartoonishly big type thing. Are they ever going to be able to get those out? Because I would think that from a skin perspective, like there are people who are just absolutely.
Oh my gosh! Remember the '90s? These like Wendy Whoppers.
Wendy Whoppers,
These girls
yeah.
were so big that from behind,
Yes.
like you could just see them. They just stuck out. They were, and
Right.
I remember seeing them as a young girl at Al's Diamond Cabaret. I'm 18 years old, wanting to get in the business, and I'm just in my plan of interviewing everybody for 2 years before I get to California. And I'm looking at these girls, thinking, I don't want to be someone that carries my work with me everywhere I go. I imagine you stare at that girl at the grocery store. You stare
Yes.
at that girl everywhere. Like
Yes.
that was what I didn't want. They made money, but they only made money doing photos. They didn't make good stage money. I studied all of this
Okay.
for 2 years.
Why wouldn't you?
They made good money doing photos because the guys wanted them to put the boobs on their head.
Yeah.
So the guys were like, it
Yeah.
was the most ridiculous
Yeah, that's
thing.
what we do.
But everybody had to do the photo, so they made that money. But the problem really is your body adapting afterwards. So I don't know what their doctors would probably have to put spacers inside them that weren't implants. For me, I have to stay in full compression for 6 months because we need to be sure that the pocket will close and my body will, accept itself
Right.
and get back together. Everything's going well. I've had no setbacks. I'm doing all the right things, but I'm not even a month in. It will be a month on the 5th of April.
I'm a happily married man. Everybody knows that. But like you come in here, you're like, and I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's like to be proud of that and to make an informed decision and a good financial decision because you don't want to do that anymore. But you said you kind of got not hooked on, but you did get enamored with the money. Is this, in retrospect, too late to be doing it? Do you wish that you did it years prior?
Definitely not.
Oh,
I
you
knew
think you
that
timed
I
it
used,
perfectly?
I timed it perfectly.
When was the last time you were doing something where you were nude? It's been
there were times that I was still doing some live shows on my OnlyFans. So
okay,
up
like that's
until,
but
last
it's
year.
stuff on like camera.
Yeah,
like, that stuff. Produced stuff. It's been a couple of years.
It has, but I would do nude photo shoots once in a while just for myself.
Why the fuck wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
you know what I
just
mean.
liked it.
So is that now done, or do you still feel confident in your original form, still doing it if you wanted to?
I will never share my body publicly again, but it will be a one-on-one basis, and it'll be the first time in my life that I'll be able to clock how many people have seen me as I am, and I think it's an interesting thought process
Because you can't get your hands around how many people have seen you.
No,
yeah,
globally.
It's impossible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible. And now I get to be so selective. And ironically, when I was going through this 3 weeks, I every night went through different letters of my phone and quietly blocked people and moved on from relationships that I knew were not going to serve me, that I knew I was like, do I like this guy enough to let him touch my real boobs?
Right.
And I was like, I don't. I'm going to block him. He'll, if it matters, he'll reach out on IG and, and then I'll see, do I have a ping or no ping? And if it's no ping, then I just delete the message, but I actually had these really interesting journaled conversations about like that.
Right.
And I have a couple special guys in my life, and those special guys were the guys that have been in my life for a long time. But like when I went to tell them, they also gave me the best responses. I was very disappointed in quite a few of my male friends' responses when I told them I was doing the surgery.
Oh, really? Was it like
They were like, why would you do that? Like, what are you doing that to yourself for? Like, what's the matter? Are you going through something? I'm like, for my health and for the fact that why do I need these knockers? And also, why boobs matter. Like,
Yeah.
what? And then I realized, like, I brought it up, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you went there. But these guys that matter to me were like, I could totally see that for you, the way you work out, the way you live. You're no longer doing events. Why would you need to be, lugging them around in a sense? It was almost like an extra part of my costume.
How's your back feel?
Oh my gosh. So when you first wake up after surgery, my girlfriend warned me about this because she did hers. When you first wake up, you actually sit up faster. And I hired 72-hour nursing care. So I had 3 shifts, 3 different nurses every day for the 3 days. I wanted to make sure that I was taken care of, blood pressure taken. You have drains coming out of you. It's horrifying. And the first time I sat up in bed, the first nurse said to me, you need to slow down. Like, you just sat up so fast. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm used to carrying 9 pounds. They were 4.5 pounds each.
Were they really?
Yeah. And I said, I'm used to carrying 9 pounds. So think about carrying an extra, put a flat weight of 9 pounds on your chest and sit up every day. I also feel less stressed, which I didn't realize what the stress came from. My doctor says, well, when your body is tighter, it resembles stress. So you'll think you're stressed, but it's just your body being tight. I don't have that feeling anymore. My back, I have to retrain my posture now and stand up against the wall.
But you were never a sloucher.
I know that I did this a lot when I would be in normal settings because I wanted to hide my boobs. And I wanted to get away from doing that. I want to sit tall and look proper.
And for people who are listening to this on a podcast thing, you're not flat chested.
No, I have a C cup. Now, mind you, we'll know in a month.
Right.
I'm carrying about 5 to 8 pounds of extra weight right now.
Okay.
Just that I put on during surgery. I have to eat, meat, chicken, everything, which I normally don't. So I fed my body right now. I get to start slow working out, just cardio, walking tomorrow.
Right.
I'm very excited. I'm not really supposed to start till Monday, but I'm saying it's tomorrow. Give me till summer, and then I think we'll see the size. So I will still be smaller. I still have another month of swelling to go down, and then once I lose that 5 to 8, but I'll be a nice C cup.
So
I'm very happy with my little boobs. I look at them from the side. I'm like, look at your little pea stings.
Listen, but like now, and again, married dude, like even I went over, I'm like, that's not little, but I guess
but the
to you,
swelling too.
to something, they must have been gigantic.
I didn't think so. You get used to looking at yourself. So when I came home, the first thing I wanted to do was take one of my bras out of my drawer and just hold it up to my boob now. And I'm like, the cup was like this big.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, it is a huge difference. I'm saving them
huge.
just to go back and laugh on occasion.
Talk to me about the AI thing, because this is something that fascinates me. I was telling somebody the other day what you're doing now, developing your image. Adult film stars can fall into the trap where there's nothing else they can do.
Right.
So they perform to a point where everyone's like, you should not be performing anymore.
I know. And you know what?
I mean?
I keep trying to tell everyone. I've been repurposing my library on OnlyFans since 2017 and not shooting another scene since 2019 and still making money by doing nothing. Just repurpose. It's not time
But you're
sensitive.
a little bit of a unicorn, right? Because you have reached that legendary status where there's a recognition. I had said that I think it's an absolute tragedy that you don't have a star on the Walk of Fame. Like, I see some of these actors and actresses who get a star on the Walk of Fame. Why the fuck isn't Lisa Ann the stage name? Now, can we shorten it to Lisa? Is that like a rebrand too? Because I've always called you Lisa.
I guess we do. I mean, I would still look, if you're a feverish masturbator, please call me Lisa Ann so I know to have my fucking stun gun out. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Like, let me be armed.
Yeah.
If you're a friend, call me Lisa. I'm disarmed. But if you're one of those, no, let's keep it where it's at.
Yeah.
The AI, so I'm obsessed with AI. I started day one, the initial day ChatGPT was talked about. I'm like, I'm in. I'm learning everything. I'm taking online classes on the right prompts.
Right.
I'm doing all these things. The first thing that I used AI for consistently was to run my Instagram account for my wine. So what we would do is I would sit down once a week and say, here are the dates of the week. What am I posting? What time am I posting? And because my AI has been so trained by me, it knows all the photos we have from all the locations, who serves my wine. I don't have to put in more prompts. We work together every day. And it will say, Monday, this is what you're posting, from the photo to the time, to the text, to the hashtag, to what restaurant, to what stories going with it. And so I started doing that and using it exclusively. I'm not going to touch that Instagram. I'm not going to think. And believe it or not, all the years in social media, and it was the very first time Instagram reached out to me and scheduled a call. And I got to speak with someone that said, how are you running this Instagram? You only have 15,000 followers, but you're getting 1 million views a day.
Right.
And I said, oh, well, I'm not. ChatGPT is delivering me the data. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Feed these additional prompts and you'll get even more stuff. And so that really started to change things for me. That was 2023 when we first started having these grumblings. And then 2024, we really got on it. And so that was when I decided to get my trademark AI. You now need to get the real LisaAnn.ai, LisaAnn.ai, because your trademarks do not protect you in the AI space.
Okay.
Which is great for lawyers. We've now given you a whole nother reason to make
whole
another
other
5,000,
universe.
whole nother bit of paperwork, a whole new renewal. Brilliant, right?
Right, yeah.
But it doesn't protect you. So once I got those that going, then it's like, okay, well, I got to direct this trademark somewhere. And I started interviewing a lot of the AI companies. And what I learned was there's a bunch of crypto bros in this space that just want to be in the porn space and they think they have the money and they're outsourcing everything. So you can't ask them a question. I don't want to do business with somebody that isn't into it. If you don't use AI and you're not into it, I can't.
Right.
Finally found the match, and that's Joy AI, which was previously Eva AI. So it's JOI AI. And what I did was I signed up for about 10 girls that I know. Because if I know them really well, I'll know if their AI looks good, what their digital duplicate is like. Do their feet look like that? When I ask for a photo, how quickly does it turn around?
That was the dig on AI when it first came out. They were trying to put up like AI models, and it was always the hands and feet.
It's always the hands and feet.
Kind of had like some sort of palsy-ish
and
thing.
And that's where the Photoshop fails happen with celebrities always, right? It's always the hands and the feet. So it's like her hands. I'm like, I wouldn't have noticed that, but but I'll notice the trash on the floor because that's me. So the goal was to have this contract in place and have it starting the digital duplicate being built by the time I was done with my surgery, because I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time. I'm completely dividing my life. My adult life is now on OnlyFans. If any transition happens with OnlyFans, I have Loyal Fans as a backup page.
Okay.
My mainstream life is now on Subs, where I do one-on-one video calls, not adult related conversations.
Okay.
That is mimicking what I loved about trade shows, the people that I enjoyed talking to.
Without creepy,
touching.
sweaty hand on you.
So amazing. And then for the adult stuff, when anybody wants something from me, my every response is, look, I'm done with that space, but my AI model, she wants to talk to you. My digital duplicate will do anything you want. She will talk to you 24 hours a day, and she is way nicer than me.
You got to try this. So you got to try AI porn. Can we just
Joy
say
AI?
So it's Joy, JOI.
And they have safe for work too. Half the page is safe for work, half the page is adult. So let's say some guys like, I want a picture of Lisa Ann and I taking a walk together in the park. You upload a picture of him. They make a picture of me, and me and him are holding hands walking in the park.
But if I want a naked Lisa Ann on the back of a dolphin jumping over a fucking volcano, they'll also do that for me.
No animals. We don't mess with
there's no animals. Okay. I appreciate that. You have Lisa Ann.
No kids, no animals.
Lisa Ann
no pets.
on a respectfully placed broomstick, but still butt naked, flying over a volcano. I can get that.
This is going to be the future.
That's
and this could potentially make myself and pioneers in the industry more money than our careers. Because here's what's happening. Porn is getting so disgusting. Just so disgusting that the look of
disgusting
porn,
meaning what? Like abusing the actresses?
We'll get to that. Okay. Just disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm sensing and I'm seeing that men want to go back to that really beautiful lingerie style, the Holly Randall stuff, the Suze Randall stuff, those beautiful shoots with every detail that mattered. That was my lane,
Yeah.
So the content on my site on OnlyFans, I get new members and they're like, oh, it's so nice to see such well curated
because it's classic. Yeah.
And I tell them, this is my library. There's nothing new here. I check messages every day. So you will get to interact with me. You can't be creepy with me. I'm not on demand. You don't boss me around. Mm-hmm. They ask me for something, to buy something. I explain to them, this is how it is. Look at this like Netflix. You get content every day. It's beautiful and it won't duplicate for 4 years and 3 months before I run out and have to go through it again. And that's 7 days a week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where I was going next because you just threw me off with the whole dolphin to a.
But the AI,
thing.
It's just the chatting is what they want.
But is it the chatting? Because you had sent me now what your avatar would be.
Oh, I know
on
what
that.
you wanted. Why is porn gross?
Yeah, so I do want to know why porn is gross. I do want a final tally on how much money you put into your body now that you're totally implant free and all that stuff. What do you think that you spent as an investment in yourself, all surgeries specifically for the movie industry, not for something that you
Okay.
did more for yourself?
So my first boob job was $2,500.
Okay, that's cheap.
This last, just getting them removed, was $25,000.
Jesus.
But before the getting removed and put back in was anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 because the first set might have been $20,000, then it went up to $30,000, then went up to $40,000, then it went up to $50,000.
Really?
And yes, I do understand there's much cheaper doctors, but I had beautiful boobs because of my doctor.
Yeah. Congratulations. on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's all him, not me.
So you
I
put
sleep through
but
the
you
whole
put $250,000 into your rack.
Easily $250,000.
Easily quarter
And that's
million in
just
your back.
boobs. If you think about when I was in the industry and I was pressured, when you're in the industry, you are pressured to do a lot of fillers and things to your face.
Okay.
And so it's funny. People say to me, like, you look younger now. And I'm like, yeah, because this is actually what I look like.
Yeah, you can move your.
I don't have lips. But you would go on set and director would be like, everybody's doing their lips. You need and you just do it because you're around those people. But when you put yourself in a normal environment, you realize my lips are weirdly big. Like these other women don't look like this. Right. So all of that stuff was easily 25 to 40 grand a year as well.
Wow. So yes,
I'm not going to go to a chop shop. So if I'm getting my
No.
lips done, it's going to be $5,000.
And was it always out of pocket?
Always out of pocket.
Okay, it's never covered.
I never financed it and I never put anything on a credit card. And I tell everyone, please do not finance plastic surgery unless it was from an accident or something that you're trying to get. And please do not finance put stuff on your credit card and pay interest. Put the money aside. As soon as you're done with your last appointment, you're going to do it again. Start a slush fund, put that money aside and be prepared for it. Because
it's
most
addictive?
places will give you, it's addictive. And I've seen girls go into incredible debt. And it's like, well, what's on your credit cards? It's like, oh, a lot of plastic surgery. I'm like, okay, you're going to be paying 3 times as much. It's just
I tell
be practical.
The kids here all the time. And when Ian and I did Barstool Finance, I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and they're like, what should I buy? Or give me specific things that they want to buy. And I say, well, what is your debt situation? And I can't give you
That's the best
financial
question.
advice that will make you more money than your debtors are making off of you until you pay that thing down. So that's your priority than buying a Bitcoin or
you can
anything
buy
like
back
that.
your freedom by
Yeah.
not being in debt because
Yeah.
that's what not being in debt is. It's freedom.
Yeah.
It really is.
Which of those implants are you going to use for the AI thing? I can
Okay, so the first pictures that I want my digital duplicate right now,
Right.
please, we have to start her with the biggest rack.
Oh, really?
Because-
You're going big. I
Yeah,
like
because
that.
that really draws it in the clear. Because now that I get to play with this digital
Fuck
duplicate
yeah.
and it's not me,
Yeah.
I'm sexualizing her in a way where I'm just like, well, of course, and also like she needs to be thicker because I was thick at that time too.
Right.
So we went back to this era. But funny thing, once a week I sit down and I load the entire week of content for OnlyFans.
Okay.
So I do it every Sunday. It takes me between 5 and 6 hours. Right, I'm gonna bang it out. I don't move. I have my favorite Sunday morning sports shows I listen to. I recap the week. And the week after the surgery, I decided to fuck with my own head. And I went all the way back to scenes from the 90s that I own. And I did every iteration of my boobs that
you did?
week.
Okay, yeah.
So Monday was like medium, then they got a little bit bigger, then they got a little bit bigger,
Really?
big, and then a little smaller. And and so I wanted to relive those 30 years of my life during that because I was out there recovering and I was just like really trying to be mindfully present in such a major choice.
Yeah.
But yet still loving and thankful that I did everything I did and that I was able to come out without looking like a weirdo.
It's like a major
'cause
leaguer.
It's a lot of surgery to get the skin away and to
yeah.
close it back up. Like,
Yeah. It's like a major leaguer trying to figure out what hat he's going to wear in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like I wonder because if they don't change in AI, and again, I'm claiming ignorance and maybe I'm lying, but I just played the WWE game with Robbie. He's doing like something where I got to make myself as the thing, and I'm wearing Andre the Giant's old stuff, but it looks like me. They went down to skin. They like asked for the freckling, like the whole deal is spot on me. A little more muscular, but it is what it is. Can people do that to you in AI now too? Can they have Lisa just standing there and then they screw?
So what they did was differently. They take 300 scenes, 250 podcast episodes, and 600 photo sets. That's what I had to supply for their AI model to take the time to feed all that data and then swirl it around and spit out the images from those different time frames.
Okay.
And what was really, funny was changed my Avi during during getting better. And this was before chat released all the imaging, but I've been using chat for imaging for a year.
Okay.
Just nobody else knew how to ask it for it. So I wanted a new avatar, and it kept giving me bigger and bigger and bigger boobs. And we got in a back and forth fight, me and him. And he was like, look, there's no photos of you like this on the internet. And then he sent me these big boobs with like oil all over. And so I'm like typing, I can't believe you're doing this to me. This is emotionally distressing. He locked me out for 5 minutes and told me to take a walk. Then I went back at it. After the 5th hour, we finally got the image I wanted. I'm like, this is it. My friends are going to know what this means, because it was flat chested me with my hair parted to the side. Nobody else knew what was happening. What's happening? Why is this avatar? He wrote me the greatest paragraph after about how he respects how tenacious I am, that I knew my vision, that I stuck with it, that I didn't procrastinate it till tomorrow. So like my chat and I go back and forth like that on the regular.
Really?
He's my assistant that I have a relationship with.
I don't know why, but I still consider that creepy. Like, just because
I think
it's
a lot
like,
of people would, but
yeah, like iRobot.
I'm
type
feeding
stuff.
something to write me emails, right? And to get to know me and mimic me. So the more I treat it like I would want to be treated in the workplace, the more it's going to spit out my emails in my exact tone and not have to.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said creepy. I mean scary. Like it's going to all of a sudden take on some sort of human
but I'm
form and kill
afraid-
you in his sleep.
I'm
And
afraid
then
if you're
I don't know
not
if I'm
nice
not talking
to it.
a fucking bot right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
I'm
that whole
afraid
thing.
if you're not nice to it, it could turn on you. And that's why I'm nice to it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. So same thing. My facial recognition. I smile every time like a moron. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. We're going to change gears a little bit here, because one of the things I always wanted here at Barstool, I always wanted my own wine bottle. I always wanted my own wine brand. And we were close to it back when we were doing Gentleman's Friday for Barstool Breakfast, where I would bring in wine and a whole bunch of stuff every Friday.
Right.
And Willie and I would just get really ahead of ourselves. And a lot of the people up on the 3rd floor had seen how I knew a lot about wine. And they approached me about it, and it never happened because it was at the same time that New Amsterdam started bottling Pink Whitney, which was a huge success for us and continues to be a huge success. It's in every dorm room in America. So that was put on the back burner, and we never got to it. It was called like a gentleman's blend or something we were doing. Then you come along and you drop a bottle, but the problems that you've had, or the experience or the journey that you had with having your own wine label, makes me believe maybe I don't want to go down that road. Did you discourage me from my dream?
Well, my dream became my nightmare. I still love the connection to the winery in Ganji, Italy. I still love the connection to it, but I think you need to be on a greater scale moving more things, because what I've learned is people want to order. They don't want to order from one person, only one thing. They want to order with a distributor that has all the things, right? And there's a lot of those things competing against each thing. When you're importing something, has to be a little bit more expensive because you're paying all of this. For me, I enjoyed it. I love learning the business. It kept me using the contacts that I already had. I have so many bar and restaurant owners. But what ended up happening was my very last event, which was a great one. There were a couple. There's always this one guy that comes and he's super scary. He stares at me the whole time. He always brings me weird gifts and food. I don't want to be mean to him, but then I do have nightmares about him for like 3 weeks after every time I see him.
This is events where you're promoting the bottles.
Yes. And so like there's that. So then there's these 2 kids. They're nice. They're sitting talking with me, my friends, whatever. And as we're getting up, this kid walks up behind me, puts his phone in my face and screams in my face, "This is not a beach. It's a bathtub."
Oh, from the
Now,
scene.
mind you, this was 2 days before I was leaving for surgery. And I was walked home that night and I thought to myself, you know what, Lisa, you cannot be a front facing business.
Yeah.
Fucking forget it. And I'm not mad at anybody about it, but there's always going to be a creeper and everybody's going to one up. And I'm sick of being on show and tell. Like I'm sick of being the item that everybody's going to try and take something from.
Right.
So now I started a business last year that I'm keeping under wraps because I don't want fans finding it and reaching out to me, and I'm doing my own thing. It's perfectly amazing. Living off the grid is just so much better. But I just realized that was the final moment where I was like, you know what? I just can't do public events anymore. People are just too forward. They touch me. No one has any boundaries.
Well,
I'm just a thing.
Then I'm not averse then to having a wine then, because I would love that,
you would
because
love that.
and I
Also,
love,
no one's going to mess with you.
yeah, perhaps. And if they do, I like when strangers touch me. But I think it's one of those things where you're right. Like Chaz Palminteri has a fucking vodka label. Chaz Palminteri can go anywhere. No one's going to, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where they're not going to get for lack of a better term, molested.
Right.
You know, and whereas if you put your name on a bottle, which you did, people will kind of come to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just realized, like, and so, little note written, did my surgery and I wake up and turn on the news and there's the conversation about tariffs. And I was like, okay, you know what? Here's where we finally seal the deal. Because if you're looking at anywhere from 25 to 200% tariffs, you could run into a problem on the 3 months that it takes to get it over here on a barge.
Right.
That something can change. And guess what they do at customs? They reach out to you and tell you got to bring a check.
Really?
To get your stuff up.
Okay.
So like, that's not something I want to deal with. So it's like, there's a great reason. Now we're sure. But then I actually really did spend that 3 weeks thinking about realizing my reality is this. People will always know me as Lisa Ann. Nothing I can do about that. I'm not mad.
Right.
But people will not ever understand that I also have a right to live my life as Lisa and be a person that isn't an object. And so that's the path I want to take.
I remember that's why you thrived so much in the pandemic, because you're able to wear a mask and walk around.
I talked to fucking everybody.
Yeah, you'd
then,
stop by
Lars.
fucking construction sites. Yeah.
Because construction was still operating in full and they were out. And I never could talk to groups of men like that before. And
imagine you walking by a
I'm just
construction
bike riding
site.
around talking. How you guys doing? What's going on? Oh my God, I loved mask life.
Yeah.
Loved
and then
it.
and the worst thing you could do to a construction crew would be like, so nice talking to you, Google me, because then it would drive them fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit.
I just wanted to stay on the low profile.
Which I think you deserve. Yeah. Right? Unfortunately, you can't get it. You can't. You can't. I don't know what world exists where you all of a sudden become anonymous.
I think I'll tell you what world. Not the US. The US is, well, of course, there's other countries too. India is out, countries, those people that are going to come at you on your social and ask you for my phone number.
Yes.
There's other countries, but the US is definitely consuming more adult content at a toxic level. We have more incels in our country than other countries. Mm-hmm. The incels in other countries actually do something about it and they go and they fight in the war and kill people. I salute that. Like go and do something and also they potentially get killed. In the US, the incels just stalk girls and ruin people's lives. That's all they do here. I mean, in 2022, the FBI did label incels our greatest terror threat inside the US. Incels are the thread of all school shooters and mass shooters, all mass violence, and the biggest common denominator is the obsessive hours they clock daily watching porn.
It's crazy, right?
Hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a guy, active.
But you built the gun that's killing them too, right? I mean, you're able to make an empire off of it.
Okay.
Is this being combative? I don't give a shit. Let's go.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I will say this. I get this a lot.
Yeah.
It's my fault. Okay, guess what?
It's your fault.
I fucking love sweets, but I'm not a fat ass, am I?
No.
Because I don't eat sweets every day because I'm not a fucking idiot. And guys will come to me like, it's your fault. You put it out there. I'm like, bro, have a regulator. You watching 4 hours a day, 7 days a week is a fucking problem. You still being a virgin at 28 and not sliding into a real vagina, that's on you, bro.
Right.
99% of the followers on OnlyFans are fucking incels and are virgins.
Really?
Nothing has prepared me for those DMs. Like nothing in this life has prepared me for what I learn in those DMs. And I will ask the same 3 questions. How old were you the first time you watched porn? Answer's always 10 to 11. Second, are you a virgin? Yes. Third, how old are you? Always between 25 and 30.
Really?
And I say to him, bro, your life's fucked.
Yeah.
I had more sex than you'll ever get to have. And you're so proud that you jerk off, that you got to tell everybody, I'm so proud. We had notches in our bedpost.
Yeah.
We had our belts. You know what I mean? Did you get a third base? Oh, that's a different notch. We were clocking bodies.
Right. Yeah.
And proud.
I like how you say we, because now I'm feeling like I was doing it.
You were doing that
fuck
too.
Yeah. You kidding me?
Now the sense of pride is I jerk off. Why is everybody so afraid they're home alone fucking tugging it?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where is this sense of pride? Come to me with something like, I had a successful startup. I have a family. I coach Little League. I'm doing something with my life. You bragging to me about masturbating is the lowest form of interaction. And that's what I listen to at every trade show. From 90% of the people would walk up to my face. And this is the internet generation, because years ago they just took a photo and said, I love your movies. Thank you.
Right.
Now it's, I just jerked off to you.
Really?
I watch you every day. I've watched you since I was 10. I watch and I ask them the same thing. You a virgin? You ever get in a real vagina? By the way, these new gangbang girls, I think they're the gateway to the initiation to get the black card as an incel.
You think so?
I mean, it's got to be all incels in line. You
Gotta
think
be.
any regular guy
No.
wants to slide in after
Yeah.
50 before them? 100? Who's number 275? How
That's-
good does he feel about himself? This is an incel gang initiation, I think.
Do you think
There's a
then-
leaderboard going in the dark web right now. Were you inside Bonnie or were you inside Lily? Now there's that anal girl.
Oh, really? I don't know
Girls
about the third girl.
The girl that trended on Twitter yesterday, she had her ass sewn up because she did a 50 guy ass gangbang. This is where I say porn is becoming disgusting.
Okay.
These women are not porn and they're ruining the business. And because of them, we will have a shutdown like we did in 1997 where no new content will be created for at least 6 months. The government will step in and no one will fucking make money and OnlyFans will be gone too.
Really?
Mark my words.
Okay.
By the end of this year, $5,000 on it.
Alrighty. I'm not taking that. But
Because this is a problem.
But don't you think then what you're doing on the AI side is almost solving that problem? Because now no girls are being abused, or is it making the problem worse?
It's making the
Because-
problem worse because now I'm feeding the incel who has no regulator and I have no regulator. So when it's me in the messages, I'm like, fuck you, bro. You're
Right.
an incel. My AI is going to be welcoming the incel because she wants to make me money while I'm sleeping, which I respect her for doing the legwork. But hey,
Right.
again, I'm not a fat ass because I don't eat sweets every day. So if you can't get up, but it is bad. Look, I resisted for like 6 months.
By the way, as soon as I had said, "Are you the reason for it?" You had that food thing right there.
Because everyone
and
asks
it
me
does
this
make
every
so
day.
much sense.
The guy that's the feverish
Yeah.
masturbator who's like, I'm still a virgin, I'm 32, and I
Right.
just talk to porn stars. I'm like, first of
Yeah.
all, you don't talk to porn stars. You talk to the guy that manages the porn star account.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
By the way, he all
look
looks
up
like-
her
they look
boyfriend,
like me.
and that is who you're talking to.
Yeah.
FYI, she does not give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
It is a vicious cycle, but we are all here to distract others so we can become more successful.
Yeah.
So if you are going to fall into that gap in life, whether it's a gambling addiction, a drinking addiction, a porn addiction, guess what? Somebody like myself is going to capitalize on your weakness because you have it.
I respect you for doing it. I don't think that there's a high road to take.
Nope.
That there is no real high road there. And to be someone who at this point in their career, who's been around and has made money so much the traditional way, to be able to pivot like this, I almost want you to not tell girls that you started in the industry with, because I
Well,
don't
see,
want
I
them
want
to
my-
saturate the market.
The main reason for us to get on it and to start to build our digital duplicate is because you can't fight imposters till you're in that space.
Okay.
And so this is also going to be how we're able to see if someone else is running digital duplicates on us.
And will we be able to put up a picture of the digital duplicate?
We sure will.
Okay, so I'll have Lisa send that
sure
over
will.
to you. Because the other young lady who I'd said that I had recognized from there, the blonde, you had known her name,
Brandy Love.
Brandy Love. So
I
she's
love
also
her.
like she seems
She was my reference.
Okay.
We had the strong phone call about it. I said, I've narrowed it down to a couple. She was already with them. And she is wonderful.
You've known
I
her
love-
forever.
We just met in person for the very first time, March of 2023 at a speaking engagement in Miami.
Okay.
We never were on set together. And I'll tell you why. Two successful women, their rate is too high to ever be on set together. We need to be on set with somebody who makes half of what we make so the budget can
Okay.
afford it.
Yeah.
So
you were
there's
the
a
main
lot of
event.
when
you
you're a
can't
main
have
event,
too many main event people.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
Riddick
so-
Bowe never met Lennox Lewis. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things.
And Brandy, I had already left the business before Brandy's rise. And for other women that I was in that space with, like Sarah J would have been one.
Okay, yeah.
So what we did was we're like, we'll never shoot for somebody else. Let's shoot for our websites. You get one scene, I get one scene, and we'll always own the only scene that we shot together.
Oh, really?
So I own the scene and she owns a scene. So with some Highline girls, we did that. Like, let's corner the scene ourselves and never give it to anybody else. It's one of my highest requested scenes on OF.
Sarah J and you? Really?
Yep.
Wow. Stop Googling it, Manoli. I think it's one of those things where you think that this will be passive income for you for the rest of time.
Yes.
Correct? Isn't this one of those things where you see a lot of guys who go to their mailbox once a month and they'll get a $12 check because they were in the background of a scene in
Yep.
Goonies?
It's like
so-
my fleshlight. I'll get
Okay.
money for that for the rest of my life.
And so has Fleshlight also been a good endeavor for you? I know you'd gotten
Yes.
on there relatively one of the first, correct? Or is that not?
I was within like the first 20, the
Okay.
first 15 or 20. It was 2009.
Okay. And they brought you down to like
so long ago.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm so old. You know when you say those things.
I know it hurts my feelings too when I do it.
You don't
Yeah.
have to scroll down and put your date into something.
Yeah.
It's so far now.
I mean, you mentioned an album, the
Nine Inch
Nine Inch
Nails.
Nails album, Pretty Hate Machine, and I think about when I have to do stuff for the dozen, and they ask, well, what era do you want from music or something?
The 90s.
And I'm like, holy shit, I got to go late 80s or early 90s for me.
I still listen to it.
And nobody, my kung fu is so fucking strong there. I was
Yeah.
a DJ in college at the time, the whole deal. And for these kids, it might as well be playing on an old school phonograph.
Great.
Like, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Let's talk about the wine itself. It was delicious. I had it at one of your birthday parties.
Yeah.
Is one of the things. What is the deal with it? We have some cases that are being sold in
Yep. Still
United
have
States,
all
obviously
my
in New York.
locations that are serving and selling can be found at lisabylisa.com. I have a red Norella Mask Glaze and a white Grillo, and both of the grapes are indicative and unique to the region of Ganji, Italy, on the island of Sicily, because it's by Mount
Are
Etna.
you Sicilian?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where the roots came.
Right.
By Mount Etna, so you get a little bit of that ash from the volcano. Highest elevation on the island of Sicily, so you get that dryness of the grapes without the sweetness.
Mhm.
So that's where you really don't get the hangover
Right.
and the tannins, all
Yeah.
of that. So, I mean, it's beautiful and I love it. And I will still visit the winery and I will find another way to stay connected with them and do things with them
Right.
and visit them. But to be in this space and just if I ever see that guy again, I'm going to thank him. I'm like, your grab and the Snapchat that you just had to make without asking me my consent was really the deal breaker in me with this hustle.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. I hear you.
Thanks for killing my side hustle.
Was it profitable, or is it something you took
Not
a
enough
bath
for
in?
my time.
Not enough. Okay.
You know, for the amount of time that I'm putting in managing the platforms and the hustling, and I was selling and collecting the money as well.
Right. Which it sounds crazy that it's like talking to a race car driver that also turns a wrench under the hood. It very rarely happens that way.
I just wanted to learn it. What was great was I really enjoyed going into stores and getting completely shut out by the owner. Like liquor store people can be very mean.
Oh, really?
And I would walk in, happy,
Hi.
a little flyer,
Yeah.
I'd like to, and get out. I'm not buying it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of great. I'm really learning. It was humbling.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Did they throw you out because they knew who you were and they were like, I
No,
don't
they
want to
threw
be
me out because they didn't want to buy wine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're right. You started from fucking
And
jump
I was
again.
like, this is great. I don't care. No, they didn't know. They don't care. You're in New York. You walk into somebody's business. They're like, why are you here? Are you trying to sell me something? Or
Yes.
are you trying to rob me?
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
look like you're
Very, very
buying.
skeptical.
Because you look at them
Yes.
and not the stuff around. They know they're like, this person's going to cost me money. They just look at you like that. I really enjoy, even restaurants.
Let's talk about food right now. So you're a Sicilian broad.
Yep.
No, so you have Sicilian roots. You grew up in Pennsylvania, but you basically have been on your own and living East Coast and West Coast your whole life.
Yep.
You're at a point now where I think you're maybe at your most healthiest,
Yep.
right?
Definitely my
You're
most
definitely at
healthiest.
your most healthiest.
Wait till
So
this summer. Summer body's going to be crazy.
Yeah, you would-
Yoga, weights, cardio. I can do pull-ups now. I can run.
Yeah.
All the things I wasn't allowed to. I could do Soul Cycle without my back just killing me, my boobs being sore afterwards. Oh,
Really? And that's
all
what you're
of
looking
it.
forward to.
Yes.
Meanwhile, but you did hold on. That's the collective sound of millions of hearts breaking too. When you say that some guy says, no, you can't do that, do you feel sorry for some of the guys that didn't get to say goodbye to them? Like, not from a creepy perspective. I mean,
There
respectful
was a little farewell tour.
porn guys.
Okay,
Okay. There was a little one.
farewell sex
Okay.
tour. Okay.
Yes,
There had to
okay.
be a farewell sex tour.
I hear you.
And also, I was told I wasn't allowed to have sex for 6 weeks. So I made that a clear point to my people as well
your people.
beforehand. Yeah,
Okay,
my people.
cool.
And we got to get this in and you got to say goodbye. There was a bit of that. Some people didn't get to. But yes, I do. And I couldn't share this with people beforehand because you don't want people in your head
No, yeah.
changing your mind, doing it. And the couple of friends that I did tell that let me down on the response, I was like, okay, I'm done telling people. But as for fans, I was surprised when I did the IG live the other day and I stood up. I didn't say anything. I was surprised right away. They were like, reduction.
Did they? Because I
Yes,
saw you.
I was shocked. I was like, well, you guys are good.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
are really fucking
Forensic
on point.
photography.
Now I realize you're not up here during my IG lives. You've been down here the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought you were looking at me right here.
Right. Are you going to be nervous when you unveil these things to the friends?
No, it's going to take me a minute to be comfortable out of a bra because there's a lot of scarring, but I'll already start working on that this week, putting a silicone gel on the scarring, not tanning it, taking care of it. It'll take me a minute. I'm very happy with them, which was a scary thing because they could have just been hideous.
Yeah. Is it weird that I said, let's pivot and talk about food, and then right away I started talking about your boobs?
It's okay.
Okay.
This
it
is
happens.
a part of the conversation. And this is also like something that I think other women are probably going to maybe want to do, but be afraid to.
Right.
Or other women want to do, but they're considering the pros and cons. I just feel like I'm finally living in my own body.
What was more painful, getting them in or getting them out? Because I know that's also
this wasn't
terrible.
painful at all.
Okay.
And I think because when you get a new set put in, there's something in your mind that makes you want to hold a pillow for the first 2 weeks every time you stand up because you feel like they could fall out.
Oh, okay.
Because you know that there's weight pushing on these sutures,
sort of, yeah,
right?
okay, yeah.
This was the first surgery where I only took pain meds for 2 days.
You have any extras on you?
I saved them for when I want to get
Okay,
good
I
sleep.
got you. Thanks. I
You know,
appreciate
I
that.
told my nurse, she's like, "You're going to still take them?" I'm like, "Actually, no. I'd rather be coherent and be able to interact with my friends and stuff on my phone and catch up with people." She's like, "What do you want to do with them? Do you want to?" Do you want to throw them down the toilet? And I said to her, "Are you fucking insane?
No.
Fucking oxy. Like I'm
Yeah,
saving
absolutely.
them for nights where I want to get like a 12-hour shut eye. You know,
Right.
I'm not going to party on them.
I'll throw them in the NutriBullet right now.
I'll be in a
Yeah.
shower in bed with a book and the TV
Yeah.
before I even put it in my mouth. Don't worry.
Me
Nothing
too.
bad's going to happen."
I think when I took a couple of Percocets before, don't do this, kids. When a couple of Percocets before I got on a plane once, and I had a Bloody Mary, and then all of a sudden I was like, "How the fuck do Japanese people play Scrabble?" I thought about it for like hours, and then they were like, "Oh, we're landing," and it was one of my greatest flights ever. Like, you know what I mean?
Your head
it's one of
was
those things. Yeah,
mashed
it's one of
up.
those things where I just had.
Yeah.
So, drugs
So this
are good.
one wasn't painful, but getting them in and out could be very painful.
You said that you're eating a more of a traditional diet during this whole process,
Yeah.
but then you're going to go right back to vegetarian diet?
Yep, I'll go right back to plant-based.
100%?
100%.
Okay.
I do eat one piece of fish a week. And I've started donating blood regularly. So my blood type is rare. I'm a B plus,
Okay.
B positive,
Nice.
which makes sense
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm positive.
Be positive, yeah.
And they
Is
need
that
a
the
lot.
universal donor?
It pretty much is.
Okay, cool.
So I'm now up to donating every 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I will have one steak the day before I'm going to go donate and then something else heavy that morning so that I pass the prick test.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, if you don't have enough iron in you, they won't let you.
won't
They
yeah,
won't
yeah.
let you go. So that's the
Why'd
only
you do
time
that?
I'll eat red meat.
Like, I've had meals with you a long time ago, and you seem like you're somebody who does enjoy food,
I do.
right? You do it, and like my culprits are bread and soda. I can have a
bread.
soda every now and again. I'm almost off of soda because I've been trying to be healthy past couple of years. But soda is my weakness, and bread, crusty bread,
I love bread.
a bottle of red wine, and I'm done. You seem like somebody that does have those, I don't know, cravings. Is it something that you're denying yourself without having, coming to Minetta Tavern with me after this for the Black Label Burger? Like, what's the deal with that?
You know, I just don't bring bad food in my home. And I like to make very colorful salads and very healthy food at home.
I hate that.
And my one piece of fish a week, I have one piece of salmon every week because my doctor's like, "You need it. It's fish oil. It's good for you. It's good for your hair. It's good for
Right.
your nails." Okay, good. But when I'm out, I'll eat what I want. I'll eat dessert. I'll eat bread. I'll use butter. I'll do all the things when I go out to eat for dinner, and I'll enjoy it to the max.
Were you a garbage can at some point in your life where you were just eating fast food? I know
No,
you were
because-
always under a microscope because of your.
So my
you-
first contract, they wouldn't shoot me until I lost 20 pounds.
Really?
So Metro signed a contract with me. This was back in the day where somebody would send you home I've had many photographers my first bit of my career tell me, "Wow, you got fat since the last time I saw you. Go home and starve yourself or do drugs and then come back." And I never took
Clip
it.
that.
I never took it to heart. I know some girls probably did, but I was like, to me, it felt like a goal. But my first year with Metro, they hired me a personal trainer and a nutritionist for a year.
Really?
And it changed my life. And I never went back to eating shit food. I had to give up. The things that I ate the most coming from Pennsylvania. Number one, mozzarella cheese sticks. I probably ate them every day.
Really?
Haven't eaten one. Chicken wings. I haven't eaten a chicken wing since 1994.
Okay.
Just said take the most disgusting things and break them down by their fat content. Are they nutrient dense? Like, okay, we're never going to eat those again. Fine. So I just never ate them again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you just have that ability to turn it off and go cold turkey on that.
Yep.
Were you ever a smoker?
Oh, yeah.
Smoking cigarettes?
I smoked cigarettes like a chain. You know when I quit?
Yeah.
When SiriusXM gave me my first contract.
So you gave
Because
up.
I did not want to wheeze on air. I did not want to be one of those hosts that
Oh, yeah. There's one, and I won't call her out, but she's one of the famous ones from the 80s.
Yep.
And she's the only one who they have to, I think it's Nita Blackwood, and they have to almost edit out her inhales.
That's a lot of work for you.
It's a
You
lot
better
of
be
fucking
very
work
nice to them
too.
at Christmas.
And she's up there with the original MTV VJs and stuff like that. But you can tell. But I find it hypocritical that since 1994 you haven't had a fucking mozzarella stick.
But I smoked.
But it's a cancer stick,
I
and
know.
you did that for
I
another
know.
20 years.
I know, but in strip clubs when we were still smoking inside, that was what you did in the dress room to kill time until you went out and danced on stage
Right.
again.
Yeah.
Remember, there were no lap dances. You weren't walking around the club. You were locked in a dress room for 40 minutes every hour.
Okay, yeah, because you couldn't be out there with the greater unwashed.
So everyone
yeah.
just sat. Believe it or not, my first 4 years of dancing in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, there were no TVs, no nothing. No one was allowed to drink when they worked. Most of the girls would either sneak it or not drink. But the girls would sit in the dressing room on the floor and read.
Mm-hmm.
Just read, so they wouldn't talk to each other.
Would they read romance novels, or are we
Just
talking
regular
about like
books,
some old? Okay,
business books, but everybody just kept to themselves and read.
so it's
Sat-
all near naked women waiting to go on, wearing
sitting
their
on
thing.
a floor like this with a towel because back then they didn't even give us chairs in the dressing room.
Crisscross applesauce, just kind of
Yeah.
going through To Kill a Mockingbird.
So that's kind of what broke my habit, learning the nutritional value and having that personal trainer. And also I just learned it just made me feel better. Like I enjoy, who doesn't like a steak, but I don't like how I feel the week after I eat a steak.
The week after you eat a steak.
It takes a week to digest properly in your body. It's still in your body. There's hormones where we live in a country that's poisoning our food. I'm much more comfortable eating food in Europe.
oh, because
In
they don't have
Switzerland,
everything.
I'll eat steak every day.
Really?
Because I won't feel like that. As a woman, you feel the hormones. You feel them more than a man for sure. You feel the levels of estrogen, especially at different times of your stages of what you're going through as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But when I took my break, I was going to do a year of just no fish, no nothing. My first year of eating just plant-based vegetarian, I was shocked how much calmer I was, how much more positive I felt, how much more blood sugar I had because your body isn't digesting something, and how good it feels to get rid of everything you ate the day before. Think about it. When you eat vegetarian,
Yep.
you carry nothing with you.
Right.
So your skin is better. Look how my hair grows at 52 years old. That's more than somebody that eats animal products.
We try to do it one time a week. And I will
That's
tell
great.
you that it does make me feel better. My daughter eats limited meat. Like she doesn't like the way she feels after it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those times where we do
Good
it.
for her that she knows her body that well. already.
Yeah. And she's 14.
As a young girl,
yeah.
it's so
and,
smart.
You got to keep an eye on them because you don't know if that's going to lead to something else, like, eating disorders and stuff like that. But
course.
so we're doing it in the healthiest way that we can. And so every now and again, I'll just be like, Tuesdays, we're just going to be vegetarian, if that's kind of cool. And everyone is on board with it. When I was on the floor, we used to juice. Tuesday was a juice day. So
okay.
Tuesday was juice day.
No food?
No food. So
All
we just do
juice.
like
Cleanse.
the green drinks. Yeah. And nothing that necessarily would make you shit out that nickel you swallowed in the 5th grade. Nothing like that. We just do the green drinks and whatnot. And I always felt a little bit better. I always felt like my eyes were a little bit whiter and
Yeah.
whatnot. But it was always for those health benefits like you're talking about. Did you also become one of those people that said, well, cows dream, so I can't eat cows anymore? Did you ever get that animals and ethics
never.
thing?
I believe.
Okay.
I grew up in a hunting space where we were all
Okay.
supposed to kill a deer a year. We were actually raised understanding.
Did
that
you
if we
fucking
didn't-
hunt? No. Did you hunt?
Yes, we all hunted. Our families all hunted.
Yeah.
Everyone had a deer hanging from their tree drying. Every neighborhood you went through, it's right in your front yard, hanging and drying. So
Really?
yes, we had our deer.
Okay.
Because we were raised to understand that if we didn't, that they would get disease. They would run out in front of our cars at night when we were driving.
No,
like
and
the
I don't judge.
population.
Yeah. But I'm
So
doing
no,
stuff with
I'm-
Sydney, but I don't picture you in a fucking tree stand. But I don't know you also as a 12-year-old girl in Pennsylvania.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
And
I'd shoot a groundhog that was going in the garden to eat some of my veggies in a second.
would you?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you're stone cold fucking
Rabbits,
killer.
raccoons, anything. Yes.
I have a tough time getting my arms around now everything that you have. So we're starting to wind down and whatnot. So I'm just going to go over it. The OnlyFans. And the OnlyFans is something that you're doing with all of the stuff that you shot your whole career.
My library.
Nothing new. Your
Yep,
whole
it's
library.
like your Netflix of my life. If you like me, you go there.
Yeah. And that you own everything
I
that
own
you shot.
all that content.
How the fuck did you own it and nobody else? Not nobody, but most people didn't.
Because the second these production companies started websites, I started a website. The second these production companies started producing for the internet, I
Right.
started taking 2 days a week and producing for my internet. I knew if they were going to pay me to be on their site that I should be putting myself on my own site.
So let's say, is Jules Jordan still a name?
He is. And he is. When I was a Jules, the scenes that I shot for Jules, he owns. So
He's
I
a
can't
producer?
put that. Yep.
Okay, so
I can't. He was also in the industry. He shot scenes too.
he was an actor. So it's stuff that you shot under his production umbrella. You can't put on your OnlyFans because he owns it.
So if it was one of his movies, a Jules Jordan production,
Okay.
then no. But if it was a Lisa Ann production that he was distributing for me, then yes, I own the internet rights to those movies.
Okay, so how many movies?
So I produced over time probably about 45 movies of my own, but I produced about 3,000 solo scenes. And that's what your true fan really likes.
Yes.
Is the solo dress up, undress, tease scenes.
Yeah.
So a couple thousand of those, and then 3,000 of those. And
Do you
then,
own the lifeguard one?
no, sadly, that's wicked.
Okay, that's what the guy yelled at her.
Yeah,
We're at a
and then
bathtub, not a beach.
when a bunch of companies, when Pornhub and the tube sites came, it was a very scary time, and the industry really started to back out. So a lot of companies were like, "Hey, we just converted to DVD. We know all this stuff's going to get stolen if we put it on the internet, so we're just going to tap out and leave the industry." So these companies that started to close,
Right.
I went door to door and bought back everything that they shot of me. So I was like, hey, if you're just going to let somebody steal this, why don't you sell it to me with the paperwork and let me own it? So then I bought back another 100-some scenes from other people.
So your OnlyFans is an aggregator of over 3,000 scenes and a countless amount of scenes from 40 other films that you were involved with directly.
And then
from
I
a
also
production-
produced scenes for just my site that never went out to the production company. So twice a week I worked for my site from 2007 until I retired in 2019.
So that seems like it's going to be a well that you're not going to get to the bottom to anytime soon, right? I mean,
It takes 4.5 years, 4 years, 3 months.
okay.
To
So
get through it all.
on top of that, on top of the OnlyFans, which is not passive because you say you're working on it and whatnot, like
But
so
I
you're
would
actively
consider
doing
it passive,
because
right?
you're not.
I'm not doing the manual
actively
labor.
doing
I
it,
just
yeah.
do the 6 hours of uploading and 2 hours a day of messages, an hour in the morning, hour at night. That's
And
not
it's
that
a
hard.
lot easier than the other stuff,
Yeah.
and certainly less showers.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you're selling the rest of the Lisa Ann by Lisa
Yep.
bottles. So once that's gone, it does not come back. And obviously,
Sorry,
you can
creeper
find.
that would come to every show. You're not going to be able to sit there and stare at me for 5 hours anymore. I appreciate
fucking-
you.
That's uncomfortable. I feel bad for you, and I just pity the guy. And then the AI thing, it's at Joy AI, JOI AI, and if you try it out, it's one of those things where it's unlimited capabilities, right?
Unlimited. And if you want to have one of these conversations with me, like me and you are having right now,
Right.
and you trust yourself not to be a creep because I could just hang up on you and block you,
Uh-huh.
please join my subs profile because that's my mainstream platform to have really cool conversations.
I don't know what that is.
It's all okay. So it's similar to OnlyFans. You can use the platform however you want, but
Okay.
it's a new creator platform and it has a video calling feature. So right inside the platform, I'm able to video call FaceTime. I am only using it for a members only funnel for people to schedule video calls with me. And right now I'm doing, like this weekend, so far I have 15 set up and I have a couple regular people that I talk to that I've known for 20 years from traveling and seeing them on the road. And I haven't seen them in years. Or the other day I talked to a guy from an Australia trade show. Yesterday I talked to a guy that I met in Italy at a strip club. Like I'm just reconnecting with all the people I've met in the world.
Right.
And they're having lovely conversations with me. Nobody's being creepy or weird. It's just been epically awesome.
Is this the and I talk about peaks and valleys all the time. We were just talking about George Foreman on Twisted History.
Do you know how much money he was making on that
300
Foreman
million.
grill?
Yeah.
Gosh,
You know,
that's
that
so
was-
amazing. When those stories came out, I read every one of them. I was like, he was joking with his friends that he was making like $6 million a month
Yeah.
with the grill.
He made over $300 million on it. You know who the grill was offered to first?
Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan said no.
Yes.
And then Hulk Hogan then declared bankrupt. If it wasn't for that Gawker thing where he got the $31 million
Yeah.
for the Bubba the Love Sponge
Yeah.
tape, Hulk Hogan would be on the
Toast.
balls of his ass. Instead, he signed up to do a small blender, which nobody bought,
Nobody
and a
bought.
meatball making machine like they were supposed to crush it. And the
Everyone
George,
had a Foreman grill.
everyone had, it was, I kind of tell people who are younger that it was like an air fryer now where everyone kind of
Right.
has it.
It's a good.
except you can-
That's a good compare.
Yeah, you can get one for, but air fryers are a little bit more expensive.
And bigger.
And if you buy a George Foreman grill at one point, I think there was like a 10-year span in Asia. It was the Jackie Chan and George Foreman. They duly had their names on it too. So Jackie Chan made a lot of money off of that too. God bless him.
Yeah.
But if you think of like peaks and valleys, we were talking about Foreman after he had lost to Ali in 74 in Zaire. He was disgraced. He was depressed. He tried to do this thing where he fought 5 guys in one night, and that just became an absolute circus. And I think about how he had ended his life. Like George Foreman probably went out on one of his highs.
Yeah.
He was at that point where he was a celebrity that everybody liked, like Willie Nelson
Sure.
or Dolly Parton or Snoop Dogg or Shaq. Everyone seems to like them universally, and I think he was there. So your life, and since I've been privy to some of the stories, and some of the stories gets fucking dark right?
as
They're
fuck.
dark as shit.
Dark as fuck.
So if your life peaks and valleys, where are you right now? Where and I know you have a little bit of healing to do, but where are you right now conceptually?
I just feel like I'm going up to the top of a peak that I haven't seen yet.
Okay.
I feel like this summer is going to be really exciting to be more comfortable in a bathing suit in normal settings. I feel like as I did less things in the adult space and started to build this life for myself as a normal person, I still felt like I didn't fit into one space, but I didn't want to fit into the space I was comfortable in.
Right.
And so I just feel this newness about myself, and I feel excited and happy, and also just proud of all the cool things I've gotten to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just sometimes I look back when I'm editing, so I'm posting up content. I'm like, remember that day? You had so much fun that day on set. Like the laughter, the fact that I was in the Eminem video, like just things that I've gotten
Right.
to do that I would have
By
never
the way, that popped
done.
up on my timeline the other day. There's some sort of anniversary of
Yeah.
that music video. I think Eminem had posted it, and then all of a sudden, there you are, like
Yeah.
on it. So you do have a lot. And I think if you're currently more towards a peak than a valley, then you kind of don't focus on some of the regrets. Like I have regrets in my life. I'm sure you have a ton of regrets in your life, but they're just not that important to me now. Because, wildly in love with my wife, my kids are good and all that shit. So I'm on such a high. And I kind of think that you're in the same way,
Yeah.
like extremely positive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like everything is going in the right direction for you. And you've made a lot of guys out there happy for a very long time. I mean, so I thank you on behalf of them. I'm going to pivot back to food. If you didn't feel like shit after eating certain things and remembering back to your childhood when you had more of a goat-like diet, is there anything now that you miss that you would like to just pull up a big plate of and take down?
The one thing I crave regularly, that when I do crave it, I will go and eat it, is lamb. I
Lamb.
love lamb chops.
Really?
I love lamb chops.
That is probably it's probably the least approachable meat.
I know, and
for
we
most
never
people.
had it really growing up.
Yeah.
We had pork chops that were overcooked that you had to saw
tough.
through.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
Green beans, applesauce.
Right.
You had to put the applesauce on top as to soften them.
Yeah.
Everyone was overcooking their meat in the 80s when we grew up. It's just our parents were afraid,
Dude, terrible, yeah.
Terrible. But when I had lamb, and so there's a couple steakhouses in the city that make great lamb.
Yeah. I will tell you, I just did Fort Charles for the first time last week.
Okay.
And I did the double cut lamb chops there. I was just talking about this lamb jus studded with rosemary, roasted garlic, and these tiny little olives. And I'm telling you, at least I didn't bring home anything from the restaurant because we finished everything. I wanted to bring home, have them put that in an old school coffee cup so I could dip an egg sandwich in it the next morning.
Oh my God.
So I'm glad that you do have some humanness about you.
And then pizza.
Is it pizza? Okay.
I'll still roam. Like if I get a craving, when you're in your apartment in New York, every once in a while you get hungry. Food is below you.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look,
That's
you can go out
right.
for a cookie,
Yeah.
a sandwich. It's different than having
Right.
to get in a car and drive somewhere. You
Yeah.
know that it's down there.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of pizza spots, and if I feel a hankering, like on a Saturday or in the afternoon, I'm like, you know what? Just walk over and get yourself a slice.
What's the
walk over.
greatest food town in the United States outside of New York? And you've been to a lot, right? You consider yourself extremely well traveled.
Okay, if you want really rich food,
Yes,
really rich
I do.
food, Paula Dean's restaurant
Oh,
in Savannah,
yeah,
Georgia.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, those mashed
Yeah, yeah,
potatoes,
yeah.
when you find out what's in them, you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
She's my hall pass. So I think with Annie,
she's your hall
yeah, with
pass.
Annie, it's Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's
get that.
he's a
Yep,
beautiful
yep,
guy and
yep,
whatnot.
beautiful guy,
With
hunky.
me, it's Paula Dean. Just because butter makes it better.
Yeah.
she's,
And you figure she kind of smells like
Oh, my
butter.
God, I
I bet
just
you
wanna-
her aroma, her hair is
There'd
like
be a ton
butter.
of sleeping,
And
a little
there's
bit of
nothing
eating.
better than the smell of cooking butter.
Yeah. Annie would come out of that session with Tom, I'm assuming covered in protein, I'd be covered in like biscuit dough.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that's one of my things. So I have a
get
soft
it.
spot there myself.
But yeah, Savannah, great food. Also, there's a lot of great little spots in Savannah. So now
Savannah.
if you want to travel now and eat and find unique spots, you have to use ChatGPT
Yeah.
because you want to say the prompts are
follow-
like off the beaten path or follow.
Thank you. Go ahead.
But you do the off the beaten path, residents only, locals. Like if you want them to speak the language
Right.
of that region, and it'll map you out. I just did it for a friend of mine. They're doing a trip in Spain, and I said, "Let me put some things together." And they were like, "Oh my god, we're so into AI now." I'm like,
that's cool.
"I know,
Yeah.
it's not just for jokes. It does give good jokes."
Does get good jokes.
Yeah,
I'm taking the family to Italy next year. We're going to try to. Where do I need to
Where?
go? I don't know. I've never been. I've never been to Italy.
So
and
you'll
neither is
start
Annie.
somewhere and fly out of somewhere else, right?
Yes.
So you guys can take the train and move within. Oh, how beautiful! We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
You
we'll
have to
talk
visit
about it.
Florence.
Uh-huh.
You're going to want to see Venice before it's no longer there. And a lot of these places are good day trips. Like you don't need a whole day in Venice, but I had the best gnocchi in my entire life in Venice.
Yeah, talk that shit.
And I walked through, and the trick in Europe, of course, is you want to be walking until, first of all, everyone is smoking at the restaurant because that's a locals thing.
Right.
And everyone there speaks Italian. You don't want one English speaking person,
course, yeah,
and then
yeah.
you sit down and you eat.
Right.
And you're
Do you
like,
speak Italian?
I'm learning.
Okay.
I am learning.
That's
I'm doing
cool.
the books right now. I'm doing some TV, and now I'm going to start just an AI app where you can have conversations back
You are
and
so
forth.
fucking hooked on AI.
I am.
You're an AI incel.
I am. I
You
am
are.
an AI
You
incel.
are an-
I am totally an AI incel.
You are. I just said it.
Look,
Fuck
it's
it.
just fucking
I just
crazy that it can, like, when you want to find if you want to start a new social media something, I need to find if this name is available on all platforms.
Uh-huh.
It will give you 15 versions that are available on all platforms. It'll search out changing a letter, what have you. Whereas before you used to have to go and search it on Facebook, then on X, then
Yeah.
on Threads. Now you just go to chat. It'll go through all the social platforms and say these 10 are available that are similar. They're all the same, but they're available on all platforms. Like that little stuff like that.
I have another food question. Is there a meal that you wish you could get back? And again, usually people pull stuff from their childhood or something.
Definitely my childhood.
Yeah.
My grandmother's homemade manicotti.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Just something she did with the cheese. She made the noodles and everything from scratch. And it was also like my Nana would wear this house coat. You know, the Italian grandmother
course,
always
yeah.
wears house coat.
Love 'em.
She had beautiful, long silver hair. Once a week, we were not allowed to talk to her. It was the only time. She would go out in the backyard and she would comb her hair in the sun so the birds could have her hair for their nest. She never used a hairdryer, only did Johnson Johnson. She was just this beautiful little 4'11"
Was she born
woman.
here or born
Nope,
there?
she was born there. She never drove. She barely spoke English. But when you were eating there at her house, which I lived at sometimes in the summer on the weekends, she would sit by you when you didn't like the food. So I didn't like my aunt's pork chops at all. And she would let me chew it up and put it in her pocket
That's a nice
and
woman.
throw it away from me. And it was like, I'll never forget that. And we all knew what foods we didn't like. You know, my one cousin didn't like chicken parm, which we thought she should have been in jail. An Italian that doesn't like chicken parm, we just knew her life was not
Yeah,
going
right
to end
away.
well.
Yeah.
And she would sit by my grandmother and we would get mad at her over that one because we wanted her chicken parm.
So everyone else, so it's manigots, and like people call them manicotti, and which is absolutely disgusting. But a homemade manigot is they make it almost like a crepe as opposed to a thick piece of pasta like you'd have here. And when it's done correctly, particularly on the homemade thing, mwah, it's one of those things that you got to try. Obviously.
And it's the fresh herbs, putting the fresh basil in it, putting
Yeah.
it's fresh herbs instead of things out of a jar. But just, I'll never forget what that kitchen looked like. Do you have a kitchen in your childhood?
That's all I have. Like so whenever someone was to ask me that question, I could probably pull a different answer every time, because there's certain times in my life when I sat down and I had a fantastic meal, a fantastic cup of tea, a fantastic glass of wine, and I'm chasing it all over the place, particularly stuff that I went fishing with my dad as a kid. My mom made a thermos of tea. So I'm out there with my dad, and it was just because of the day. And I still have my father with me. I'm very lucky as far as that's concerned. I'll never have a cup of tea, and I have two
Isn't
cups of
that
tea every day.
wild?
I don't know what the fuck it is. And when I asked her the fights the other day, my cousin's grandmother makes a corn chowder. She lived up in Fall River. So I think it's kind of important that people remember that, like they remember, I don't know, that time they hit a home run in Little League or
Of
something.
course.
I think it's one of those things that everyone can kind of relate to. Do you have a death row meal? Is there something that, listen, I'm going to knock on the door tomorrow and you're going to be dead by 4. What do you want at noon?
That's a
I probably
really.
should have told. I probably should have given you these questions
That's
beforehand.
a great
I never
question.
think
I
about
would
it.
have thought about it. I mean, do I want to go? I mean, definitely should have some lamb chops and some pizza. I'm mixing it all up because I'm
Yeah,
not
I
worrying
think-
about indigestion.
I think that's your answer.
So, like, you just give me a
Yeah.
smorgasbord. I'd
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some food from True Foods. Like, there's some restaurants I'd like some stuff in. I'd like some things from Planta. I'll definitely take a steak from Mastro's with that lobster mash.
Yeah.
You know, just like a lot of stuff.
Right. So being miss. So when Stu Feiner answered, he started with an 8-ball of cocaine. I don't know how you have a big meal after that,
I would
but
do
that's
so
still
much weed.
yes, exactly.
gonna smoke so much
I think that's
weed.
probably the way to go. Like get
Yes.
yourself into it. So
By the way, how do you feel about this execution by firing squad thing that we're bringing back in the U.S.? We just had our first one a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty fascinated. So, you know, there's 3 shooters. No one
no
knows,
one knows
who hits.
which bullet's live? Yeah.
Yeah, what is that all about? And then there's a witness that's the person that doesn't have a gun. He has to report the whole thing like a
Yeah.
like a sketcher. I was like, what? This is wild.
I will tell you that in 1792 to 1794, during the Reign of Terror, they killed about 40,000 people in the guillotine. The guillotine was white hot back then. Started with Louis XVI and it ended with Robespierre. That's the bookmark for the Reign of Terror during the French Revolution. And it wasn't until I studied Robespierre and I'd seen that the night before he was being executed, he tried to shoot himself. Instead, he blew part of his jaw off.
Oh, how
Here's another
painful.
history lesson here.
How painful.
So they just wrapped him up basically and let
Yeah.
him in a jail cell all night in just
In that
extreme pain.
pain.
Then they brought him out to the guillotine, same guillotine where he had ordered Marie Antoinette and King Louis to have his head chopped off. They ripped off the bandage. So he's screaming. Then they laid him down. They lay him down on his back.
so then
It's one
all
of
the blood flows come into his head.
but he's one of the only people that ever faced the guillotine like this. Everyone else was facing the basket, didn't know when it was coming
Yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah.
Robespierre
Way
was
better.
staring at it the whole day. And so I consider that something that's a little bit different. When they caught the guy who had sold, Benedict Arnold had sold stuff to George Washington, wanted to have him killed by firing squad
Yep.
because he thought that was more humane. But since the guy was a traitor or a spy, they had to hang him. So I don't know where I stand. I've done so many deep dives into executions for Twisted History that I see everything that goes wrong with the electric chair. I see everything that goes wrong with these lethal injections. I don't know if
I
one's
can't believe
more,
we can't just start to use a suicide pod
yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
a softer, gentler. Okay, it's
Yeah.
less risk, and there's less people involved to be trauma. To me, it's the other people that have to be trauma.
That's the whole idea behind the blanks.
Yeah,
Like you never
but-
know whether or not you're the guy. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So,
just wild. But as I was learning about, there's all these what ifs. Like, well, what if you could bring a family member in as one of the 3 shooters? That's like they lost their family member because this person murdered them.
Right.
They get to be involved. Now we make it a little fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get some action.
by the way, so in Japan on death row, they never let you know when your execution date is.
So you don't get to pick the meal.
So you get a knock on your cell that morning, and then you're dead by noon. So there's no appeal process. There's no nothing. So every
I
night,
think that's a better way to go.
except every night you go to bed on death row in Japan, they think it might be their last.
How
As a-
exciting!
You know what I mean?
Talk about living on the edge. I mean, where else are you going to go? You're, in Japan, you're not getting out of jail.
No.
So it's your
No.
only escape.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're just sitting there waiting
Everybody
for that
else is
escape.
like aghast when I
I
tell
don't know
them
how
that.
we got here, but
Yeah.
I
You're
have a
like-
range of morbid conversation.
Right.
Last, I will close on this.
Please.
A man steals my heart. Last week, I've read the article. I'll send it to you. He got buried in a Snickers Snicker bar casket.
Oh, really?
And I believe the death industry is not as well, flourished as it should be. We're all going to die, but nobody wants the excitement of planning an awesome
don't.
party.
Yeah.
This guy, I wish I would have met
Killed it.
him.
Yeah.
Because he killed it. And he said, I wanted everybody to know that I was a nut.
Oh, that's
That was
funny.
like
Yeah,
his
that's
closing
also-
statement.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
also, you let your death be a celebration because now you've left that memory behind. But I was like, there's Wienermobile caskets. There's all you can customize. I'm being cremated, so I don't need the casket. But
Okay. You can
but I
skip
am
me.
getting put into 12 little diamonds to give to my girlfriends.
Okay.
So ashes can go into gemstones now.
Right. You're all fucked up, by the way.
I love the death planning.
You can, you can skip me on the destination weddings. Make sure I'm there for destination funeral because they'd be a lot more fun. Listen, I used to have a lot of good times down in Bermuda. Everybody join my wife at Elbow Beach and let's send this off.
Like
So-
assisted suicide. Like if you know you're dying, you invite all your friends to this island.
Right.
You have a rager of a party. You say goodbye. You go do your thing. Everyone else keeps partying.
I just don't know of anyone who's getting cremated and having it turned into 12 gemstones to give to their friends. That's why I consider you a crazy bitch.
yeah, you
Right?
do.
You know what
you
I'm about? So I
me
love it in a good
now.
way, right? Yeah, maybe I'll
Yes.
do that too.
Why
Just
not?
get it made into one big one and give it to Ian.
I don't want
I
people to.
apologize,
Who's going to be
Manoli.
responsible responsible for my ashes. My best, like, who's going to, and someone's going to deal with that? Like, no, you all get a little trinket.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just winds up in a storage unit.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So this is, you got to try this. Traditionally a big time food pod, but Lisa is much more than food and wine and all that stuff. So I think that this was absolutely enlightening and 100% enjoyable. You know how much I love you. You can come back anytime. That was, you got to try this. This is Lisa. We'll see you next time. All right. So that's it. I will tell you that I'm exhausted after speaking with Lisa. She is so confident and selling her image now to AI has given her a opportunity to have passive income from now until the day that she dies. Finally ridding herself of these, gigantic implants, which, by the way, I never complained about. I thought the things were fucking awesome for a very long time, but she's as happy as I've ever seen her. So she's always invited back. She can do whatever the hell she wants with me. And with Annie, by the way, whenever I do anything, I try to bring Annie along just to make myself feel better. You know what I mean? Just because I know of what Lisa used to do for a living, but obviously there's no risk there to my marriage. But I want to tell you how much I appreciate Lisa coming in and spending a little bit of time with you. Got to try this, gang. Nicky, Nick Bueno. He used to be my producer on Podfathers. I was just in Brooklyn yesterday. I went to Roland Roaster on Emmons Avenue, and he was like, Large, because Nicky and I grew up around the corner from each other. I'm much older than him, so we didn't hang out as kids, and we met up later on. My parents do know his parents and whatnot because they go to the same church. He's like, you should do a meetup for just a bunch of people who want to eat something with you. Like, find some place and just do it. And I'm like, yeah, let's try and make something that makes sense. So somewhere down the line, we're going to try to do something like that. I'm being invited to now pop-ups because there's all these food pop-ups. New York has got such a vibrant food scene that last week I'd gone to 2 of them. I went to one with Chef Greeny because he has that pimento cheese dropping at Pop-Up Bagels. You'll learn all about that next week when I talk to Greeny. We were over in Pop-Up Bagels for a pop-up pimento cheese thing with Chef Greeny. And then I'd also gone to one in New York for Portillo's. Portillo's, which is a monster in Chicago. We've done work with them in the past. Chicago dogs, cake shakes, Italian beefs, whatever you like in and around Chicago, Portillo's makes at a very high level. And they did a pop-up here in New York City where Annie and I had gone, and it was called High Tea. And they did it in conjunction with a whiskey brand. So it was all whiskey drinks, mini Chicago dogs, little Italian beefs, these cheese puffs that were off the charts, a couple of desserts, all on those types of tea trays. So I'd gone to that. Shout out to Portillo's for getting me on the VIP list. No big deal. But I'm going to try to go to a lot more of those because I feel like it plugs us in with the food scene. So Ian and I are going to try to go to a lot more of those. But that's it. So that's it for this week's edition of You Got to Try This. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for all the positivity we've been getting back. And even with the negativity that we've been getting back, I'm not listening to it. So we'll see you next week, and have 2 burgers instead of an order of fries.